Let's start. Yeah.
Okay, Ishika is the technical expert with us. How nice.
Yeah. Okay. Start. Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Gupshup with Gayatri. I would request all of you to kindly mute yourself first. We'll be taking lots of questions from all of you. And as and when, then, you could unmute yourself to ask the questions. You could send your questions in the chat box. And we have our technical director, Ishika, here helping us with that. So it's better if everyone stays muted initially.
Let us see Ishika also.
Yeah, and that will happen at the end of the chat. Yeah, let's proceed. Yeah.
Okay.
Gupshup with Gayatri. Some of you might be curious about the title. Some of you are here for the first time. So let me explain. What is Gupshup? Gupshup to bhai Gupshup hai. A light-hearted conversation you would have in the comfort of your living room. But times are different today. So we are forced to do this virtually. Does Gupshup mean that there will be no uncomfortable questions asked? They will, but not in the nation wants to know kind of way. So let's get started. Our guest today is the gorgeous Aparna Gupta. Aparna is a beauty and wellness columnist. She's written for many international publications like Vogue, Verve, Lifestyle Asia, Russia. She's been a former beauty editor of the Verve magazine. She's a consulting beauty editor with many homegrown brands. She's the founder of lavenderroom.com. We'll come to that later. Aparna, the first question.
Yes, Gayatri. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction.
We're really delighted to have you here. So the question that's uppermost on everyone's mind, Aparna, how do we get beautiful and healthy hair like yours?
Okay, so I'll tell you one thing is that hair is, and it is one of the most boring parts of everything, that hair, to a large extent, hair is genetic also. So that is one part of it. So that we are getting done with. The other thing is that I have been very unexperimental with my hair. If you know what I mean. I've not colored it. I've cut it in the past, but I've been very, like wash and go kind of a person. And I believe, and I don't use too many products also on my hair, personally speaking. So instead of the things that I do for my hair, there are a lot of things that I don't do for my hair. So a lot of people feel kind of bored with the hair that they have, the look that they have. So they want to color it, different colors, but I never felt that need. So I think that was one part of it. And also simple things on how to wash the hair properly, and and also because I was writing on this particular field, so I had access to a lot of hairstylists, a lot of hair experts. So what they gave me were insights into, how to wash the hair properly, because that is also something a lot of us, I realize that sometimes erroneously we make the mistake, for example, frizz in the monsoons is a big concern for all of us. But often when we wash and dry our hair, we take a towel and we do like this, right? Like we try to take the water off like that. Whereas that is not how you're supposed to do. You're just supposed to wring the towel and let the water, because the moment you do like this, there is a lot of friction that you're creating. So that is something which you should avoid. It's a very simple thing. Then something else.
Ring it, you said. Ring the towel.
Ring, like just, like how you would do it. Just put it like this and put it so that the water is absorbed. But you don't need to do it like
kind of,
you don't create a friction. That is one thing. Then the last, again, this is something which a lot of us know, but we don't follow it so much. The last rinse, like once you do your shampoo and conditioner, the last rinse should be with cold water. It should not be with hot water or lukewarm water. It should be with cold water to kind of close your cuticles. That is again something very small which you can do. The other thing is that, which is something which a hairstylist told me, and it is really true. that a lot of us, we feel that in this weather specifically, we want to air dry our hair because we have, because, you know, the whole popular notion that
Yeah.
blast dry, sorry, if you put heat on your hair, it kind of damages the hair, which is true. If you're doing blow dry, then there is direct heat on your hair and you're kind of giving direction to your hair. But then if you blast dry your hair, that is good, because if you leave your hair to air dry, you're exposing your hair to that much more time for the, you know, for the open cuticles as such, for the air moisture to get in. So what you will have is, even after washing your hair, you will have a mass of frizzy hair in this weather. So these are, like I said, small little tips,
You should
which is
actually
just
blast
to
dry
do with
your
how
hair.
you wash your hair.
So you should blast dry. You're saying in this weather it's
Yes,
better to do a blast
yes,
dry.
yes. You should blast dry, and especially you should never. You should blast dry your hair so that, and when I say blast dry, just, you know, like make it 70 to 80% dry. Don't move around with 80 to 90% wet hair.
Okay. That's useful. That's useful. Okay.
These are some things, and of course, you know, even if you're oiling your hair, you should know, um, you know, which oil to apply, because the what is blast dry? So blast dry is when you take a hair dryer and you just try to dry your hair, as opposed to a blow dry is when you when you part your hair into tiny sections, and then you try with the heat, you try to transform the texture of your hair. Blast dry is just using a little bit of heat to dry your hair, and it can be done in just 5 minutes.
And you blast dry the roots or you blast dry the end?
The roots also, it helps you with the sinus and headaches and all those kind of things.
So it's better to blast dry. I mean, there's the popular
Yeah.
perception is any kind of, you know, I mean, if you put a dryer to your hair, it'll get more frizzy.
And these days, the dryers also that come in are very good ones, you know, so they are temperature controlled and all that kind of thing. So the whole idea that the hair is spoiled when you use heat, that is more for, you know, like, for example, someone who is like a celeb, as an actor who is every day kind of, you know, not just blast drying, not just blow drying their hair, but changing the texture of the hair to suit different things. So that is when the real damage happens.
Okay. Okay.
Also, the whole thing is that the hair, like skin, should be moisturized.
Which is
So the
hair serum?
which is with a hair
Moisturizer.
serum.
Hair serum.
Yeah, which is
I
with
would
a
like
hair
to.
serum. Also, the other thing to understand is that this part of the hair, like the longer hair you have towards the ends, this hair is literally, you know, kind of dead. So this hair would need more. So when I say moisturize, it also means condition. So you use the conditioner, you use the shampoo on the scalp of your hair, and you use the conditioner on the ends, on the lengths, mid ends, and the ends. If you use the conditioner on the top, your hair will feel very oily and heavy.
Yeah, it also is just grows flat.
It grows flat, exactly. So I think one of the first things to understand, like how you have a skin type, all of us have a scalp type. So we need to understand what is our scalp type, because our scalp type kind of helps us determine the kind of products we will be using, especially the hair oils, because
So
hair
what are the
oils is
different kind
dependent
of,
on scalp type.
so what are the different kind of scalp types? I mean,
So
how
scalp
will
types are the same. You will have combination. You will have dry.
dry?
You will have oily. So if after 2 days, if let's say you're not, if after 2 days of not washing your hair, if your hair feels extremely oily, extremely flat, that means you have a oily scalp type.
So what would you
So
recommend? People should shampoo more. The ones with oily hair should use specific shampoos for oily hair and also shampoo more.
see, it depends. Shampoo more if you're, for example, if you're, I mean, now I don't know how much people are gymming, but then in case you're doing a workout at home, in case you're sweating more, yes, then that is the time you should be washing the hair more often. Otherwise, I think washing hair 3 times a week is a decent thing to do. And when I say oil, according to your scalp type, it means, like, for example, if your scalp is oily, then you should use oils which are lighter. Because for example, and if your scalp is a little dry, then you should use more moisturizing oils. Let's say like the almond oil is more moisturizing. Even coconut oil. Coconut oil can be used actually on all scalp types mostly. But if you have oily scalp type, you should avoid oiling your hair that often. Because what happens is sometimes we have a scalp type which is oily, and we keep oiling our hair thinking that it is good for us, and eventually we keep losing more hair.
There's a question about apple cider vinegar. Is that
Okay.
good for a last? Yeah, is that good for a last rinse?
I wouldn't. I mean, I don't think it makes that kind of a difference, unless and until you want to take the oiliness or the greasiness out of it. Then I personally don't feel that apple cider vinegar makes so much. Again, vinegar is something which is it is acidic, so I would refrain from anything which is very acidic. I'm a very safe kind of a person, so that ways I would rather that if you can dilute a couple of essential oils, whichever oils you like, like for example, if you like the smell of lavender, or if you like the smell of rose, whichever essential oil you like, the last rinse you can just drop like a couple of 2 to 3 drops of it, and then pour it, so at least your hair smells good. And and you are the one who's smelling the hair most often because it's the closest to your nose, so there is a feel good factor to it.
Add it to the conditioner, you're saying some drops of lavender oil in case you like that. Add it to the
No,
conditioner.
not for the conditioner. No, I'm talking about the last rinse.
After the conditioner, once more.
After the conditioner. See, the last rinse, when I mean to say is you shampoo the hair, you condition your hair, and the last rinse that you put, it should be with cold water. When I say like regular water, that if you want, you can put a couple of essential oils just for a feel good factor. And also the oil that also you should never wash your hair. It sounds a little uncomfortable, but you should never use hot water or little like the hot shower to have a head bath. It is never good for your hair.
No wonder my hair is frizzy, Aparna, is all I'll say. Lots of do's and don'ts. How long, I'm just asking personally. So, I mean, the day you have to shampoo, condition, take care of your hair, how much time of the day does it take?
Now it's a habit, so it doesn't take me. I mean, I think it takes me the same. Even if my hair was a little shorter, it would have taken me the same amount of time because the steps are the same.
I mean, I'll bring in a personal anecdote here. So, my mother still has lovely long hair like yours, not so thick now. But when you were growing up, every Sunday she would wash her hair and she would be in such a foul mood after that the whole day trying to detangle. So we used to be, try and hide from our mother on those Sundays because I knew it was such a task. I mean, those days you didn't have conditioners.
Yeah, so I think conditioner really makes a difference. Also, another thing is, like I said, for me, I feel everyone would be kind of aware of this. But while you have, there are detangling brushes which are specially meant for wet hair, and those are things I think people usually invest a lot in hair care, in oils, serums. Let's say your conditioner, shampoo, but the hair products, like what you should do is once you condition your hair with a detangling brush, while you're in the washroom, you just detangle the hair slowly and nicely. So when you have the last rinse, after that your hair will not be knotted also. And that's the way they do it in the parlors, and that's how it's meant. And also what it does is that it ensures that the conditioner coats every layer of your hair.
Right. Yes. So good. You've answered the next question because there was a question also on knotted hair and.
So that is the best way, like I say that prevention is better. So it takes a little longer to get this thing done. But once you do it, you don't have to worry about, then it's a wash and go kind of a thing.
Okay. So like you said, coconut oil is good for all scalp types. Is there some hair serum, some shampoo you would recommend, which is, I mean, everyone can take it easily?
See, again, it depends. Shampoo, I mean, it really depends on your hair concern. you know, so what may work for me may not work as well for you. It won't be bad, but it may not work as well for you. But some of the good brands are, you know, some of the good brands are Vela, some of the good brands are your even Swarovski is a good brand. Then Aveda is a good brand. I like that product. So it depends, and even within the now you have the whole concept of sulfate-free shampoo. So within that you have Kama, you have Forest, you have a lot of other brands doing that. So it really depends on your scalp type. So if anyone has any questions later on, and Gayatri, you can let me know. They can tell me the scalp type and the hair concern, and I can recommend. I can you know, kind of zero down a couple of shampoos for them.
So ladies, please take up Aparna on this. It's a very generous offer. It's like a private one-to-one session, you know. Yeah, so lots of questions on hair. So we'll move, you know. What
Also,
should we do
yes.
sorry, hair loss was another question that many people wanted to know. I mean, if you follow all this, that will also take care of hair loss. Or
Yes.
something specific to be done to prevent hair loss.
To prevent hair loss.
Hair loss, yeah.
See, hair loss has, like I said, hair loss is related first to seasons. So whenever you have a change in season, you will see that you're losing more hair than usual. That is one part of it. The second part of hair loss would be, it could be some sort of nutritional deficiency, which could be in your system. And it could be that you are eating the way you were eating. There is no sort of, you could actually be taking proper care of your diet, but still there could be some sort of nutritional deficiency, because hair and skin are the first signs which tell you that there is something wrong within. It is, hair doesn't exist in isolation. So whenever something, like if you feel that you are having a hair loss, one good idea is to take some sort of multivitamins and all that. Kera Glow, it's a specific supplement which is meant for hair, which is a good one. So that is, again, I have recommended it to a lot of friends and family. And
Kera Glow. Kera Glow.
Keraglo. It's a dermat recommended. So whenever you feel you're having a hair loss, you can actually, you know, kind of go for it. And the third reason is hormonal. So whenever there is, so again, if you're suffering from PCOD, PCOS, or any kind of other hormonal, if there is a hormonal imbalance within, then your hair will be the first one to kind of give you the signal that, listen, something is going wrong. Another thing with nutrition is that stress. Whenever we are stressed, and stress can be for different reasons. Let's say when we are chronically stressed about something, what happens is that it also depletes our nutrition. So we are not able to absorb the nutrients as well. So that is how, again, stress and hair fall is also connected.
Okay. Which brings me to the next segment. I think we've answered a lot of queries on hair, which you're also a wellness consultant. And in the lockdown, you've been extremely productive. You've published and released an ebook called Daughter Earth 17 Quick and Easy Immunity Boosting Recipes. Can you tell us something more about the book? I mean, I was just looking at the kind of dishes you have: ragi dosa, moringa methi chapati, ashwagandha turmeric latte, rice kanji.
So the whole idea behind this book was that, like you mentioned, Gayatri, that I consult a few homegrown brands, and I also believe in the whole concept of beauty inside out. So what you apply on the skin or on the hair is one part which is needed. I'm not saying that it is not needed, you know, because just internal thing will not be sufficient. So internal and external both are needed. So while during the lockdown, so we thought of something which can help people who are at home, you know, get that kind of thing. Again, the whole thing of there is an axis, you know, like, which is the gut, stress, and the glow axis. So a lot of our, if we keep our gut in place, we will have not just good immunity, but also good skin and hair. It's just a part and parcel of the same thing. So the whole idea was that we always talk about that we should keep the gut healthy and all that. But there are certain foods which are more friendly for the gut. Basically, foods which have anti-inflammatory characteristics. So the whole idea was to kind of do a research on those particular foods as per Ayurveda, and not just foods. Not just tell that okay, moringa is good and ashwagandha is good, but also kind of make it more usable. So kind of blend it or use it in recipes which people can use.
Yeah,
So that was the whole idea of the book.
yeah. I saw the recipes; they're doable.
And not so, yeah, like I said, that once you get the ingredients, then it's quite doable.
Yeah.
And the idea was to keep it simple also, because and that was because it's me. Anything which takes very long to cook, I lose interest in eating it if I have to cook myself.
Which is your favorite dish from this book, from this ebook? It's called Daughter Earth. Someone, Neeru was asking. It's called Daughter Earth. I'll post.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Which is your favorite?
Which is my favorite recipe? My favorite recipe is one of the karas, which is a dhania jeera ginger kara. I'm a very like a blend kind of a person. I keep making my own karas to drink. So yeah, that was one of my favorite things.
Yeah. So I mean, Ayurveda, though. My sister also has something similar. Saw and dhania and jeera. And sometimes
Yes, so there is basically, yes. So once you know the properties of different ingredients, so you just mix and match and suit your taste buds. I think that is very important. You should have something like, for example, a lot of people have green tea when they don't like the taste of green tea. Then my suggestion is don't have green tea. You should, whenever you're doing something which is, there has to be whenever you're doing something which is related to self-care, there has to be an element of joy in it. So I'm not saying that you have a tea which is completely full of sugar, milk and all that, but within the cleaner options, find something which is most palatable to your taste.
Great, that's doable. Yeah. You also talk about food pairing, like egg and spinach, tomatoes and avocado.
Yeah, it is compatibility. Yeah, it is food compatibility. It is also about how, I think it is how we are like how we are as people also, Gayatri. Sometimes when we meet someone, our potency to help or to grow becomes more, whereas otherwise we can be neutral. So yeah, so I feel food pairing, I mean, what I had written was just some of it. Ayurveda has a lot of food pairings. Like I said, if someone would be interested in that, I can always after the end of this conversation share the list of food pairings also.
Yeah.
There are some food pairings like which are obviously, like for example in Ayurveda, fish and milk, dairy is not supposed. Seafood and dairy doesn't go together, and that is the cause of a lot of that's why it disturbs the gut. So that's why you will have a lot of more allergies when you mix seafood and dairy.
Since we're talking of gut here, I mean, this is a question that's come from across the seas.
Okay.
How does one prevent bloating in, menopausal, premenopausal women when the hormones are all over the place? Is there something you would recommend to prevent bloating?
Uh, to prevent bloating, like I said, first is to watch your diet. That is the first thing. Look at things, try to, again, like in the night, don't have things which are inflammatory in nature. Okay, so try to have one is do that particular thing. Again, things which can help is if you make a tea decoction of saw, jeera and ajwain. It is again something which is which helps in uh, which helps to de-bloat your system. And the other thing, which is the rule of Ayurveda, is if you want to remove, if you want to prevent bloating, it is very obvious, Gayatri. I feel so honestly stupid to be saying it also, but the first rule of debloating is to eat less. Always eat to maintain to portion control, you know. So you should always eat in such a way that you feel that you have space to eat one more chapati. You know, so eat less, eat, eat foods which are not inflammatory, like, you know, something is heavy. Like, let's say if you want to eat a biryani, I'm not saying that you don't eat a biryani. You eat a biryani during daytime, especially if you're prone to bloating. Again, the thing with bloating is that sometimes we feel bloated when we are dehydrated also. So when you feel that you have a sense of bloating, try to increase your water intake. And yes, another thing about bloating is for a lot of people, is that when you have gluten or wheat or rice, any kind of refined flour, what it does is it hampers with the hydration of your cellular system. So when people say, you know, like, okay, let's not have gluten, let's have this. So right now it has become like a fashion fad, or, you know, things that we don't, but you don't have to go in for the fancier international. There are so many local things we have. We have bajra, we have so many other grains which we can have the unpolished rice. So what I mean to say is that if really it is your concern, what you need to do is to change the way you have food. It seems very obvious. It seems very this thing. It is a little difficult because you would probably be having food which the rest of the family is not having, but the results are well worth it. And also, like I said, that you can do something like this only if primarily you feel a little uncomfortable. Only when you are uncomfortable will you go out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, and want to make. Yeah. So, any more questions? I think we've been answering enough questions on the go. Yeah. So let's move to the next segment, which is on, I said the lockdown has thrown up many beauty challenges of its own. Beauty challenges in the lockdown is what I've titled this session. So I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions related to lockdown beauty tips. We are spending most of our time indoors. Most of us are. So in such a scenario, do we still need to use sunscreen since we are indoors?
See, the thing is that you still need to use your sunscreen. It depends on where you're sitting and working most of the days. Are you sitting next to a sunny corner or next to a window? Especially if you're sitting next to a window, you know, you need to have the sunscreen on. Also, I feel what we need to have more these days is protection from blue light or HEV, which is the one which is emitted from our screens. Because that is something which not just, it doesn't actually disturb our eyes so much as it disturbs our skin, especially for Indian skins, because we have more of melanin in our skin. So that makes it more pronounced. And the effect of blue light is not like sunlight. Like sunlight, if you are in the sun, for example, you immediately feel burnt, you immediately feel your skin getting a little shriveled up, tanned or whatever. But blue light is more of a slow and steady kind of a thing. Slow and steady. So
what can we do to protect ourselves from this blue light?
So you have certain sunscreens which have, which are called physical sunscreens. So you can use that. There are some serums also which have come in, which protect you from blue light. A lot of active ingredients from colored vegetables. Okay. They have blue light rescue. So there are a lot of formulations these days which are coming up, which is essentially meant for blue light rescue. So you can actually.
Would you like to recommend?
Okay, so one of them which I recommend is the one by Daughter Earth. It's a serum which has blue light. It has bakuchi oil, which is a natural alternative to retinol. which helps in acne, which helps in pigmentation, which helps in kind of keeping your skin nice and bright. And it also has blue light rescue ingredients, and it's a Indian brand. So yes, there's a lot of vocal for local happening. So I will recommend Indian brands as of now.
Yes, absolutely. So, Richa, and you mentioned acne, and we also have, many anxious moms with the daughters breaking out into acne. There's so much stress in this lockdown. In
So when
spite
you have, like when you have teenage kind of acne that is happening. So I think again, like I said, that if you can, pay attention. I mean, if you can try to look at cooling the body from inside. Look at anti-inflammatory. It is, like I said, it is just one of the most boring things to say, but it is the most effective.
So what I mean, cooling things. So you means like cucumber juice?
No, I mean something like, I mean something like mint. I mean something. I also mean things which are not heavy to digest, which are easier on your digestive system.
Like?
Okay, like, so I can tell you what is not light on your digestive system.
Okay, yeah. Again,
So,
like a mentioned process of selection by elimination.
By elimination, I told you. So yes, for example, when you are having acne, one is try to eat light. When I say go on more of, because the weather is such, so I would not recommend salad so much, because during monsoon, it is better you don't have raw foods so much.
Yeah.
So go for lighter broths like soups. Go for more of porridge, go for more different kind of things. It may not, and avoid refined stuff, avoid things which are coming out of package, because anything that is coming out of package, any kind of chips, any kind of what we technically term as junk food, it is not just for the weight part of it. It is because it has a lot of preservatives which interfere with the hormones of your body, and which actually make your skin break out. A lot of people also, when you are having acne, it can be a good idea to give dairy products a break also. When I say dairy, at least give milk a break, because milk is extremely heavy to digest. You can, you can have curd, you can have buttermilk. There are various, if you're bothered about the calcium intake, you can have sesame till seeds, which have much more calcium than a glass of milk. But those are things you should do. And of course, you can apply some packs also to cool the skin from outside.
That's what I was going to ask you next. So supposing you have broken out, I mean, kid is broken out, what do you do then? What would you recommend then? What kind of a pack?
Firstly, I would recommend you not to touch the acne or the thing. It is very difficult to do, but that is what should be done. You should try to leave it alone. But if it is really irritating you and all that, a sandalwood pack, pure sandalwood powder with some rose water really helps in cooling it. For some people, if they have extremely oily skin, multani mitti also helps. But again, multani mitti can also be very drying. So what it can do is it can dehydrate. I mean, it also depends on the quality of multani mitti you have. So it can dehydrate your skin also. If you have acne, I would recommend you not to use turmeric during that time, because turmeric has a little, it is, and I mean, so I would rather that you intake, you have turmeric milk if you want to, because it is anti-inflammatory, but don't put it so much on your skin. And if you put it, then put it with curd, something which is cooling.
And you were also mentioning that the kind of turmeric, I mean, you should use the turmeric that we eat.
The turmeric that you should use on your face is kasturi haldi. It is the wild turmeric that you should be using on your face.
So you get it at grocery stores or beauty stores?
In Bombay, you don't get it. In South India, it is very common to get it in grocery stores, regular stores. But in Bombay, you don't get it. But you can order it online, I feel. You go for a pure, I think you find it in Fab India and all that also. But that is very important, because the haldi that we get to eat has a lot of you know, has some colorants and all that. So again, like I said, that if you want to make full use of any kind of DIY, your raw ingredients have to be good.
So then you also mentioned sandalwood powder. So what is a good place to source sandalwood powder? Because
I would say that a lot of what would be a good place to source sandalwood powder. I
Mysore.
took one from, yeah, I mean, I took one from South India, but again, like I said, then otherwise you can trust the brands, like, you know, like the Fab India, or if you know someone, again, like I said, that your sauce has to be very pure, because
Okay.
otherwise it could be adulterated sandalwood powder. It can do more harm than good. Someone
Yeah,
asked a question on, I don't know if you want to take, I'll just take it up because I know that a lot of people ask me. It is about applying onion juice on your hair. Okay. Uh, the thing with onion juice is that what onion juice actually does is that it has a stinging. It is not nourishing or anything. It just has a stinging property. So sometimes because it stings and it stimulates the scalp, there you see that there is more of growth which is happening. But then who have oily people refrain from onion juice completely.
sorry, I missed that.
Hello.
Yeah. The last bit I couldn't hear about the onion juice. So
I
you're saying
said
avoid
people, if you have oily scalp, avoid onion juice
avoid
completely.
onion juice. Okay.
Yeah, so there is no harm in applying onion juice, but I mean, the whole effort to do that versus the results it will show. It is because, you know, I have seen that once you apply onion juice, you will take double the shampoo to wash the smell off it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So in terms
So
of
I would prefer that you use, if someone is having a hair fall problem, then it would be better if they use hair growth oil like a Bhringraj oil and all. Most of your Ayurvedic brands have that.
okay. And like you suggested, in terms of acne, you put some sandalwood. What about
Yes.
pigmentation? Some quick fix for skin pigmentation?
There is only one quick fix as such, quick fix for pigmentation, Gayatri, and the quick fix is a concealer.
Okay. Okay. Let's
Otherwise it's a process. You have to save your, one is correction and the other one is prevention, repair and prevention. So how do you save yourself from pigmentation is you save yourself from the sunlight. That's why you wear your
sunscreen.
sunscreen all the time. That's why for us it is more essential to wear sunscreen, because even that is, you know, some that is sunlight kind of increases the pigmentation, especially sunlight, which is, you know, the morning sun is good and evening sun is also good, but during the afternoon sun, that is really harmful. And the other thing you have to save yourself is from the any kind of radiation which is coming from the screen also. And another, I think for Bakuchi oil, like I said, any kind of retinol is good for pigmentation. So if
Okay.
you are, you can look for that.
Yeah.
Something for open pores, someone asked. A quick fix for open pores is to just rub some ice over it.
Okay, sure. So it's already 5:45. I mean, so many questions you've answered already, Aparna. With the segment on lockdown beauty challenges,
Yes.
people have very limited access now to say waxing and threading. So any tips for hair removal, facial hair removal at home, or just a concealer again?
See, for waxing, you have these waxing strips available in pharmacy stores. I think they are, especially one is wheat and other things. So that those are good things to.
But for the upper lip, and it's fine. I mean,
It
that's
really
the only
depends
tip.
on how sensitive your skin is. I have seen that some people, what they do is they cut it into skin. You don't have to use the cold wax. I'm talking about the strips. Someone
Yeah.
asked about the cold wax.
Yeah.
Cold wax is extremely painful. I would suggest not to use cold wax, but the strips also that they come, there's a technique how to use it. You warm it between your hands. Like I said, that everything to do it the right way, it takes a little more time. It's a slower way of doing things. But so you warm it between your hands, so it kind of, then the effect is much more. So you can cut it into small strips and use it. But I have very sensitive skin, Gayatri, so I've been refraining from that. I just use a plucker to clean it.
Likewise, I can't imagine doing it. And which brings us to the next question. Someone wanted to know, how do you cover your white hair naturally at home without going? Is there any way? I mean, so obviously brings us to henna and mehndi.
You can, if you have the expertise to thread your upper lip, I think that's great. I don't have it.
That's another level, Aarti.
That's another level. I don't have it. Another one effective way to, it's a nice scrub actually, Gayatri. You take the basin and you take some mustard oil and mix it into a little thick pasty consistency, and you put it on the skin, and then don't wash it off with water, just scrub it off. So that's again a way. That's Upton. So there are various kind of Uptons. That's the classic Upton. So that is one of that's good exfoliation.
So you've taken me back in time, Aparna. My dadi used to do this. I mean, she would I remember, especially in the winters, everyone made someone would come specifically for, and then the Upton would be made exactly.
You can mix a little haldi in it, haldi, basin, and that thing, and it is
kind of then it becomes dry. Then she would sit in the sun,
and then you just take it off. The results are excellent. If you have the time, you should do it, because the results are excellent. I should say basin and again, mustard oil is a highly potent oil. You should just be, if you have, for some, mustard oil can suit their faces. For some, it could be little pungent to be using on the face. You can break out. So if your skin is sensitive, no, you should not be using mustard oil on the face.
Last time I tried Upton was at my wedding. I remember, one of those wedding rituals was getting Upton done. How much indulgence in those days. Okay, this is another question all the way from Australia.
Wow.
So, what should one eat or drink in the morning? What's the one thing that will give you, some kind of sustenance throughout the day? You're in front of your desktop, your laptop, working. What's that one thing? Because there's no one else cooking. You have to do everything. Any kind of superfood or something you'd like to recommend so that you have energy to deal with the rest of the day?
I would say, why don't you try with moringa tea? I think that's lovely.
Moringa tea? Okay.
Yeah, because you would have, so instead of your green tea, replace it with moringa tea.
Moringa tea. Sure.
Yeah.
So that's for you. Okay. This is another very interesting question. So, in the lockdown again, I mean, the number of Zoom calls one is attending, including this one, that's gone up exponentially. How does, what kind of makeup should one do for a Zoom call, for an official Zoom call? Because if you don't do anything, so this is what we discussed. A friend was mentioning yesterday that this is a dilemma. If you don't do anything, you come across as dull, but then you don't want to be over the top. So anything, just the right kind of look, the right kind of makeup for a Zoom call. Just a mascara or a lipstick or...
Okay, so another thing, Gayatri, I feel that it is different. Like, I don't know, I feel it is different for everyone. But the easiest way to, kind of, and the quickest way to kind of look made up, not made up, like to look, would be to apply a nice bright lipstick.
Yeah.
That should be the go-to. If you can, if there are two things, if you ask me to pick one thing, it'll be a nice bright lipstick. If you ask me for the second thing, it could be, and especially if you feel that you've been feeling a little dull, the other thing could be a mascara, because what mascara does is kind of open your lashes, and it gives an illusion of a more alert you, even if you're not. So that is thing, and just to look for a nice sunny, look for a corner of the house, make it your Zoom corner where the light is falling on your face, so that you don't need foundation at all.
So I think Aparna, both of you, we are wearing a bright red lipsticks.
Yes, it's a, so red lipstick is an optical illusion. Like I told you, Gayatri,
Yeah.
the moment you have something bright on your lips, it takes the focus away from your eyes. If you have dark circles or puffy eyes or whatever, it just takes the focus away from your eyes. It focuses on your lips. And especially if you are saying, if you are in a place or if you're in a Zoom meeting where you would be doing a lot of talking, bright lips is always a good idea.
Great. So Priya Srinivasan, that's for you. Wear bright red lipstick.
A bright red, it could be bright pink, it could be your shade of red, you know, because reds are not just reds are blue red, you know, they are reds which are brownish reds, they are pinkish reds, they are plummish reds. So whatever is the red that you feel comfortable in.
Absolutely.
And this is just a piece of trivia that whenever any company tries a particular shade, red is the first shade that they try.
Okay, and why is that so?
Because whenever they try any kind of formulation, let's say it's a creamy formulation, matte formulation, not shade, sorry, formulation, you always try with red because it shows the most.
Because it moves the most. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. So okay. So Aparna,
And,
now why? Sorry, you were saying something.
okay, so now we were talking about lipsticks. I would again want to say something on nude lips. A lot of people feel that nude means, you know, like it means peachy, it means natural, it means light pink, it means light brown. Nude is basically, when you say nude lips, everyone has a different shade of nude, because nude is the color which is the color of your, which is the natural shade of your lips. And as Indians, most of us have got pigmented lips also. We don't really have the soft, you know, like not soft, like the uh, light pink lips that most of the European skin tones have. So for Indian skins, the nude would be one shade darker than your natural lip tone, so that it covers it nicely.
One shade darker than your natural
Natural
skin.
lips, than not your skin tone, than your lip tone. That is the nude shade for you.
Okay. And okay. There are lots of questions. Would you like to take some questions, Aparna, or
Sure,
should we?
sure. Or you want to, whatever, Gayatri.
So actually, we have about. Let's just take a few more questions, then we'll throw it to the audience. I was saying, you know, gardening has become very popular in the pandemic. So we have everyone from Liz Hurley to Drew Barrymore to Anushka Sharma here gardening.
Yes.
You want to explain why? This is one of the interesting articles you wrote.
Yes, it is one of the interesting, one of the articles I wrote, Gayatri, and I was very surprised to see it trending also. Gardening is essentially it is ecotherapy, and a lot of us are in high rises, or we don't have access to, let's say, that kind of nature. So we are talking about, so we look at you know, okay, let me start again. Gardening, I think, is something which helps us, because it is something that that's a non-verbal communication we have with another living being. Okay, and in terms of in times where we are socially distant, right, we are a lot isolated also. We might be doing many Zoom calls with friends, family and all that, but I think to a large extent, if not all of us, at least some of us are isolated. So I think gardening kind of helps in you know, bridging that thing, that you have someone you literally can talk to, and it is a certified activity to help you heal as well.
Yeah. So now let's bridge the gap between us and the audience. Let's have some questions from the audience.
Yes.
Aarti, would you like to ask? Aarti, you had Aarti Singh, yeah?
Yeah. So my question is that since we are so short of time with all the housework and office work, what is the one most important thing that I need to do every day to keep my skin healthy? Because I don't even have time sometimes to just put a moisturizer. There's so many other things to do. What is the
I think what you need to do, Aarti, is, what you need is to just make it, you know, I understand when you say you don't have the time to do all those things, but like how we have time to just change our clothes, we have time to have a bath. So we can just make it a part of our routine, you know, like you just make it, you keep your things accessible. So whenever you come out of a bath, just make sure that you apply that moisturizer. So I feel moisturizer is a must. If you ask me one thing, so moisturizer is a must, but don't keep it in an inaccessible place. Keep it, you can even keep it next to your laptop so that you just know that it hardly takes time. Most of the time we are searching for things, we don't put it all together. If you put it all together, it doesn't take that much of time.
Another small little thing, moisturizer, and then you go work in the kitchen. It's like it makes you feel so hot, and your skin is always, it sweats more. So then you'd rather do without it. So there's this big dilemma.
Okay, so then what you can do is put the moisturizer in the night before you go to sleep.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Vaishali Gandhi, would you like to ask the next question?
Hey, hi. Can you suggest some natural remedies for dark circles?
For dark circles, okay, so one of the natural remedies for dark circles is that you can take tea bags, use tea bag. I mean, you know, you don't even need the green tea bags, the regular tea bags that you have, put them in water. Once they are soft, you can put them in the fridge and then use that to keep it under your eyes. It's like a eye pad that is there. And it really helps. It's one of the hacks actually a lot of celebrity makeup artists use to keep their to keep actors you know, the face to remove the puffiness, to remove the dark circles and all that. I think it really works because it has a lot of tannins in it, and it works for most of the skin types because it is, even for sensitive skin, it does not cause any harm.
Okay.
Because you have to be extremely sensitive on your eye area.
So chill tea bags to be kept for
Chill
how
tea
long?
bags. For around 10 minutes, that's about it.
That's about it.
Yes, that's about it. But if you can be consistent to get the results.
Okay, thank you.
Rachna, would you like to ask the next question? Rachna? Oh. Rachna, you want to unmute and ask it? Oh, Rachna's feeling shy. Okay, Mitali, how about Mitali?
I just wanted to know, is there any good moisturizer for sensitive and oily skin?
Sensitive and oily skin. You can look up one from Clarins. Do you want a brand name or do you want me to talk about ingredients? So you can actually look for ingredients which I have, you know, for formulations which have got aloe vera and all that. In case you want some brand name specific products also, I'll send it to you after the chat for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anika Gupta, would you like to ask the next question? The one on...
To recommend facial exercises, someone asked facial exercises to retain elasticity of your skin. Oh yes, it looks very funny. So do you want me to do that, Gayatri?
Yeah, sure, please. It's a very,
so this
we are
is,
the comfort of a living room here.
Okay, so this is something which, so you fill up your mouth with air. So, you know, you do it to the count of 10. Take it to one side, take it to the other side. Do it like this. So that helps in the facial, this thing. The other thing is that while you're applying your cream in the night, the other thing you can do is, instead of just applying it like that, you can probably, you know, use your fingertips. Basically use your, our fingertips are all full of nerve endings. So you can use the fingertips to communicate with the skin of your face. So you can be a little more mindful of the way you apply a cream. So instead of just making it, you know, just lather and apply, just be, you know, like have a actual, I mean, even if it is for 30 seconds, have a communication with your skin. And, you know, so I feel your creams will work better.
Okay, thank you, Aparna. I think Niru, Neeraj Kumar. Neeru, would you like to ask the next question? Unmute yourself. Yeah. Neeru, you'll have to unmute yourself first to ask the question.
Can you hear me? Yes. Got it? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Come,
Yeah.
Neeru.
Yeah. Yeah. Aparna, my hair is very dry and frizzy hair. Any weekly hair pack and something for skin.
Sorry. I heard the hair
Yeah.
thing. What after that? What did you ask?
Yeah. And any weekly hair pack for very dry and frizzy hair. Something for tightening the skin.
Skin tightening.
So you're asking me two things. One is for the hair, the other is for the skin tightening, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yes.
for the hair, is it? I would suggest that you go in for a good mask, and not like a DIY mask. If you can now, if we can order, you can order like a really nice, nourishing mask from one of the brands. Vela has good ones. So look for something which is hydrating. The word should be over there is hydration. So look for a good hydrating mask. There is a difference between a mask and a hair mask and a hair conditioner. Now hair mask is more is richer than a hair conditioner. So I would suggest weekly go in for a hair mask. Let it remain like if you keep a conditioner for 2 to 3 minutes, keep the mask on for at least 10 minutes. While you keep the mask on, you can put a scrub on your body or whatever. You can use that time differently. And there are some very nice probably Gayatri, I'll share that there's some nice hair masks which come. It's like a sheet, how you have a sheet facial, you have a mask, so you can just put it on and do it. But the whole idea is to nourish your skin, nourish your hair. And for the face tightening, there are some creams which you can use. I would suggest is that to use a cream on a daily basis will have more effect than using something on a weekly basis. Having said that, a weekly mask would be a weekly mask would be good. So you fix a day, let's say a Sunday or a Saturday, it could be a weekday, where you know that you're going to do it for your face as well as the skin, so that it becomes a routine. Often what happens is the things we want to do for ourselves, we push it to we don't let them come in the priority or the to-do list. So my suggestion would be to keep it in your priority or to-do list.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And if, like I said, if anyone wants, sorry, for the hair mask.
And for the hair mask, can you give me a name or a brand for some hair mask?
Would you do me a favor? Yes, Vela, Swarovski, Vela, Kerestas, a lot of good brands are there. But I need to know your hair type. So if you could later, maybe Gayatri send me all the inputs. I will take a couple of days, but I'll reply to everyone. So depending on the, whether your hair is colored or not, what is your hair, scalp type, what is your hair concern, I will recommend the right mask. I will try to from my end.
Okay.
But look, yes.
Thank you so much.
It's 6:03. Can we go for another 10 minutes?
Yes, please. Yeah, Gayatri.
Yeah, so we can wrap up by 15. Okay, Shruti Tulsian, would you like to ask the next question? Thanks, Arunima. Okay, Arunima signing off. Shruti Tulsian.
Yeah, just
Ask the next question.
So, Aparna, I wanted to know some of these, green tea and other kind of tea concoctions that you keep posting about on your
Instagram page. Yes.
Yes. So, please tell us some about those concoctions.
To apply it, Shruti, or
no,
to have?
Drink.
Okay. So, okay. So the thing is, I have like how people have a bar. I have a tea bar. So I have a lot of ingredients. So my ingredients are, I have some green tea, I have white tea, I have some dried flowers, which is rose petals. Sorry?
Carry on, carry on.
Sorry. Yeah, so I have, so there, you know, like how you have a bar with various things. So these are my staples. So I have green tea, loose green tea. They are all loose form. Green tea, white tea, which is the Nilgiri silver tips. Then you have rose. Then you have chamomile. Then you have lavender. You have also blue pea, the butterfly blue pea flower. And then what I do is I keep mixing and matching them and making different kind of teas. I blend my teas.
Wow.
So depending on the, like I said, depending on the taste and the feel of it. I mix a lot of, I use a lot of spices also,
Okay.
which have
Anika,
anti-inflammatory things.
can
So
we
once
have
in a,
Kanika asking the next question? Sorry, just a bit short on time.
yes, yes.
Kanika, has she left? No. Okay. Urmila, are you there? Urmila had an interesting question on, she wanted some.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you if you know of the brands which do not go in for animal testing, you know, cosmetic brands which do not go in for animal testing.
Okay, they are, most of the recent brands actually don't go in for animal testing now, except even I think except MAC, which does in some places. A lot of brands, newer ones, don't go in for animal testing only. I mean, in the beauty terms, animal testing is now like a no-brainer. I mean, people, most of the products are tested on friends and families and humans. No more animal testing actually. But if you want cosmetic brands, I will list a few cosmetic brands also.
That would be lovely, because
I
know
will.
Toiletries and all, they are no longer tested on
Most of the, yes, like I said, cosmetic brands also, the latest formulations, they are not tested on animals.
Okay.
So when you say, when someone says animal friendly or something, it doesn't, sometimes what it means is that some of the brands may be having products which have animal products in it. You know, like for example, even like for example, a lot of Ayurvedic products may not be vegan because they use ghee in it. And ghee is derived from this. But it doesn't mean that it is, you know, cruel on animals or it is tested on animals.
Right, right. I'd love it if you could give me a few names for cosmetics which are like, you know, definitely free of any kind of animal testing.
Which are the cosmetics you use generally? Which are the brands you use?
Yeah, actually that's a problem, because once you start using things like MAC or Clinique and you hear that, oh, they do animal testing, and you're like, oh no, what have I done? You know, so that's actually, it's mostly like the established Western brands which probably go in for it still, and if you use them, then you start thinking, should I
I mean, I know that, but I would suggest one thing is that if you, I will of course, like I said, share a list of brands which don't have animal testing. But if you do like that particular shade of MAC lipstick that you're wearing, please wear it guilt-free.
Okay.
It is not something, you know, like it is not something that you should be, because you're not, I mean, as long as you have the awareness, and most of the recent formulations, even by Estee Lauder companies, they're trying to see that they use animal safe, you know, methods.
Right, right. Thanks, Aparna.
But in terms of Indian brands, there's a brand called, it's the new brand called Sugar. Again, it is vegan, it's cruelty free and all that.
Okay.
So you have, like I said, that cruelty free or vegan is different from cruelty free. Cruelty free means it's not tested on animals, whereas vegan means that it doesn't have any of the animal products
Animal products.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Okay. Right. Thank you. Thank you.
Anjali Karve, would you like to ask the next question? I think Anjali and Inakshi had the same question.
Yeah, I actually saw that, what I'd asked was already asked by Inakshi's side, the enter button, but just basically about the use of coconut oil, even on things like the face. Is that
you
a good
can, idea? So like I said, that if you don't have a oily skin, you can use coconut oil on the face also.
Does it replace a good moisturizer?
It does not replace a good moisturizer, but in case you don't have a good moisturizer, it's a good backup.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Like that. And also, if you have oily skin, if you use coconut oil for little moisturization, what you should do is after 10 minutes, just wash your face with plain water. So if there is any excess oil or something, it will just be washed off. You won't have breakouts because of that.
That's really helpful. Thanks so much. Thanks, Gayatri.
And coconut oil is a great makeup remover.
Oh, really?
By the way. Yeah. It's the best makeup remover. You want to remove any of your lip, eyeshadow, anything, just use coconut water, a cotton wool dipped in coconut oil, and it is amazing.
That's really helpful. Thank you so much. Thanks.
And it's a combination.
Coconut oil good for your hair. You can use
yes,
it as
it's an all-rounder.
Yeah.
So it's an all-rounder.
All-rounder.
And you can if it's a good grade coconut oil, you can even have it, ingest it. You can put it in your salads and all that also.
And it's a normal parachute is good enough for the normal
No, parachute, no. Parachute, no. I wouldn't recommend it. Especially for the skin and all, no. So you should go for coconut oil, which is cold pressed. That is there. Parachute is not cold pressed. Cold pressed virgin coconut oil.
Cold pressed virgin coconut oil.
So you either go in for a Kama or a Just Herbs or a Forest or something. So invest in a good quality coconut oil, because a lot of other coconut oil would have mineral oils as fillers also in that. It has to be cold pressed.
Okay. So I think those are the number of audience questions we are able to take today. It's already 6:11. But I know there was one interesting question, and the person is not here to put it forth. So I'll say, Aparna, what's the secret behind your selfies? You need some tips on how to take good selfies.
I don't take very good selfies, Gayatri. I can direct people to take good selfies. Okay, so what you can do is, the only thing about taking a good picture, like I said, is one is create an optical illusion, wear a nice bright lipstick, and then go for the light. So just make sure that the light falls on your face.
Camera angle?
Everyone has a different camera angle. So, a little, so another thing, So the thing is that if the camera angle, usually the best pictures are taken if it is at the eye level, if it is at your eye level, if the lens of the camera is at your eye level. So if you some people have a habit of taking the pictures from down below, because they see models, that's how models take the picture, but those models are always very lanky and skinny. So it adds the kind of volume, which is not, and if you take from too high angle, then you look a little improportionate. So the best angle is to be at your eye level.
Eye level, okay.
Eye level. Eye level, light and lips.
Eye level, lips and light. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you have the time, then do up your entire face, no problem. But lips is like a hack.
Yeah. So Vishakha is saying Aparna ma'am is an all-rounder.
Thank you, Vishakha.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, there were so many questions I had for you, but I think we'll wrap it up here because thank you so much, Aparna. This has been such a delightful session.
Thank you so much, Gayatri, for having me over.
There's so much information. Stuff we didn't even know about. Blue light, Kera Glow, Optan, and I've realized that the virgin cold press coconut oil is one thing that you can definitely have at home to take care of your beauty, skin, wellness needs too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.
Lots, and we hope to implement some of them also. The range has been from hair to beauty to wellness to food to photography.
Yes, and Gayatri, I had made someone asked me how to pack in the regimes in the very tight schedule that they have. So I kind of did a ebook especially for this time. So I'll share it with you. You can share it.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you so much, Aparna. Aparna is one of the most famous beauty bloggers in India. LavenderRoom.com.
Thank you so much, Gayatri. You've been very kind, but I love hearing these things. So I say thank you.
Yeah, she has nearly 17,000 people on Instagram following her. So, you know, she's given us so much time. Thank you,
Thank
Aparna.
you. Thank
And
you. Thank you so much, Gayatri.
Today's edition of Gupshup. मुस्कुराते रहिए, खुश रहिए. Thank you.
Thank you.